Hal Coleman has been
Google Pest Control Marketer. Grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.
Well, hello, folks. This is Hal Coleman, and welcome to yet another episode of Pest Control Marketing.live, the only live streaming internet TV show totally dedicated to you, the PCOs and WCOs who are out there making life better and safer and healthier for people just like all of us. And we're dedicated to helping you get more new customers, increase your sales, grow your base, and make more money. And I'm here today, as usual, with my effervescent, ever-present, energetic, non-apologetic Mike Stewart. How you doing, Mikey?
I am great. You know, the technology I love lets me stay connected with the people I love. And you're my brother from another mother. And I look forward to these shows twice a month, second and fourth Mondays of every month. Pest Control Marketing Live is live on the internet at that channel, pestcontrolmarketing.live. And it's fun to see the differences that we can make in people's businesses. And it's fun for me and you to get together and talk about our passions of marketing. And we have a passion of music, but you have a passion of being a bug guy. So come on, Mr. Bug Guy, what do you got today?
Well, you know, Mike, how long have we been working together now?
Well, I'm going to show a picture. I know on the podcast you can't see it, but that's when you and I started working over 40 years ago doing music. I hope that's why you want to watch this at pestcontrolmarketing.live if you're listening to the podcast, because you can't see Hal and me 40 years ago, over 40 years ago.
And something else you can't tell is even though I'm sitting there playing a guitar, I reek of chlordane because I've been out all day killing bugs. And then I came in to have that photo made because I was killing bugs during the daytime. And at night and on the weekends, I was playing music in little coffee houses and clubs. And so always been a bug guy. Got introduced to it at the University of Georgia and really in 1972 and graduated in 1974 with a degree in entomology and been in the bug business ever since. So, you know, here's the thing. We always like to start out with what we call stupid marketing blunders.
Right.
Just simple things that people don't think about that end up costing them money, sales that they didn't make or customers they didn't get because they weren't doing certain things. And my stupid marketing blunder today is people who fail to use a call to action on their websites, their marketing, their vehicles, their business cards, their flyers, their brochures. They just, excuse me, don't use a call to action. I go to people's websites and like you, Mike, I've looked at hundreds of websites over the last few years. I feel like I spend my life looking at people's websites. And for the most part, you'll see a phone number. And sometimes I look at their homepage, that's called above the fold. Like if I was this was a website and you were watching me now, you'd have to scroll down to see more. So I look at their homepage and there's no phone number. Sometimes I scroll down, look for it, look at the top, and I find it, and it's just the phone number. Now, a certain number of people will call you if you put a phone number on your website. But more people will call you if you put call today. That's a call to action. Tell them what to do. See, we're programmed from birth to do what we're told. You know, smile, play with your toy, eat your food, wipe your mouth, drink your milk, pick up your toys, make up your bed, take out the trash, turn off the TV, go get dressed, put up your clothes, get in the car, shut up, go to school. Then teachers begin telling us what to do all day long. Then we go to work. We get in the workforce and our boss, our employer tells us what to do. We're following instructions all day long for our entire lives. So without realizing it, we're programmed to do what we're told. That's why a call to action is so important. tell people what you want them to do and tell them how to do it. And the icing on the cake of that is give them a reason to do it also. Like, call today for a free estimate, consultation, box of cookies, mosquito treatment. I don't know, but that's going to lead into what we're going to talk about later on today, is free also. But a strong call to action will get amazing results from people. And the stupid marketing blunder is not putting a call to action on all of your marketing and advertising. You need a call to action if you want to maximize the conversion and the response you get. So that's my stupid marketing blunder. Mike, what's yours?
Well, every week you get experiences in the real world working with customers, and people are people, and this is not a criticism, it's just an observation. But one of the biggest blunders that I see people do is they are convinced to hire a mentor or buy a training or get a service that is going to solve a problem for their business. And in our business, we solve the problem of helping customers with their marketing, improve their marketing, improve the words they say. Probably one of the most important things that you do in your marketing is the words you say on your websites, on your trucks, on your business cards, on your shirts. In other words, words sell. And of course, what we do is we analyze what message am I receiving from your marketing, and how can we change those things? And what tools can we use that you're not using that make a difference? So what I'm saying is, people lots of times will be convinced they need to hire a coach, hire a mentor, buy a training service, buy a done-for-you service, something that's going to improve their marketing. And of course, the measurement of improved marketing is that if you implement these strategies, and over time, there's no quick fix. I tell my clients, and your clients, I'm sure you do, is that if you hire me today, don't expect magical results in 24 hours. It takes time. And you don't want to set up the expectation that this is just hand me money and magic happens. So anyway, you get this customer, and I've had this happen many times. And this is the blunder. One, buying it and never using it, not showing up for your calls, constantly rescheduling your calls, not willing to make the changes that the consultant hire. You make recommendations, and I've had people say, yeah, well, I'll get my web guy to do it, or no, I don't want to do it. And they argue with you, and you say, well, you hired me to trust me to guide you down a path that's going to get you success. And then you want to tell me that you don't want to do it. You don't like what I've done. I mean, I get a great example with our jingles, Hal. I've had some people say, well, we played the jingle for everybody in the office, and they didn't really like it. I don't care whether you like it or not. That's not the point. The point is, it's tried, it's true, it's tested, it works. You know what? If you want to do it yourself, then do it yourself.
There you go.
The blunder is, this is the way I'll finalize this. You go to the doctor and you got a problem. It doesn't matter what the health problem is. You got a problem. And the doctor starts looking at you and you go, no, I don't want you doing that. I want you to take that tool over there to examine me. What would a doctor say to you? He'd say, who's the doctor here? We trust doctors, and sometimes they can be quacks, but we have this delusion that because they have the degree that they can be trusted. And all I'm saying is, you and I have more time spent studying marketing than probably a doctor had going through med school. But the blunder I've gone is, hire a coach, learn to do things you don't know how to do. Like, for instance, a great example, you need to start shooting videos with your iPhone. I don't want to get an iPhone. Okay, well then you want to do it on I don't want to shoot videos. I don't like how I look. I don't want to shoot video. I mean, I just told you what you need to do to fix the problem, and then you argue with me. That's a blunder to me. And I'm not naming names, but it's happened. And quite honestly, this is how I deal with people like that. If you don't want to do what I recommend, please fire me.
There you go. I tell people that too. A lot of times I'll write a really detailed script, sales script for somebody. Really just work on it and get it nailed. You know, every word in it is there for a psychological purpose. It's those response triggers that build on each other. So I get this really nice script, send it to them, and they change it.
Yeah.
And they say, well, I changed it. Why? Well, it just didn't sound like something I would say. And I'm like, it doesn't matter whether it sounds, learn to say it this way, because this script has proven to reach the subconscious mind where the buying decision is made. It's like the combination that opens the buying vault in the brain, and people will say yes to you. But if you change it around, you're going to confuse them and you're going to leave lingering questions, and therefore you're going to get them into a state of confusion and they're not going to say yes to you. So, yeah.
Either wonder, we used to call it shelf help. People would spend big money for help, put it on the shelf and never look at it. And it's the same thing with, you need to hire a coach. You need to hire somebody who is a mentor, somebody that holds you accountable. Every successful person I ever met in my life had a coach that held them accountable, and the ones that succeeded did what the coach said. If they didn't like what the coach said and they thought, and it wasn't working, they fired them. But don't hire somebody, not use the materials, argue, change what they sent. You know, changing the script, really? What'd you hire Hal to do it for?
Let me ask you a question. Do you think you would know the name Tiger Woods today if he had not paid attention to his golf coaches through the years?
Could you imagine Tiger out there saying, no, I want to swing it like this. No, I'm going to hold the club like this. No, you're wrong. Let me show you how I want to do it. Oh, I think those shoes are goofy. I mean, no, he soaked up what the coach did, and it made a huge difference in his performance. And it's the same thing with marketing. And, you know, hire a marketing coach. We're not, you know, obviously we love for folks working with us, but you know what? We have the testimonials to prove that we're not full of baloney. So let's get on to today's subject.
Yeah, today's subject, before we get right onto the subject, is if you want to get some really good tips, whether you follow them or not, but if you want to get some, you can get this book, How to Grow a Pest Control Business. This book that I wrote, I have, it's a compilation, and there's a lot of testimonials on the back of this book too. I used to write articles for several pest control magazines, and then I did a blog for years. And so what I really did was went back over years of writing and studying and articles and blogs, and it's just a compilation of a lot of the very best stuff. Everything in this book works. There's over 100 proven ideas, principles, strategies, and tips in this book that are guaranteed to work. If you don't think they work, read the testimonials on their website, pestcontrolmarketer.com. But you know how much you have to pay to get this book right now? If you buy it on Amazon, it's $30. But you can go to Pest Control Marketing, How to Grow a Pest Control Business.com. You should see the link right here, and it's free. You can download it free. So go ahead and do that. Doesn't cost you anything except about 10 seconds to download it. And you can find some absolutely dynamite tips. I've had people tell me, you know, Hal, I'm just using your book to grow my business and everything's coming right along. I keep going back to your book to get the next step. So anyway, that's enough about the book. Do we need to do a commercial, or have we got time to keep talking?
Yeah, let's talk. But I think there's a good segue before we bring in our sponsor. Today's subject, I know in advance, is giving away stuff free that helps you build your business. And that's exactly, you know, we're not doing this subject because we think it's just something to talk about. We're doing it because it works for us and it works for our clients. So if you didn't catch it, Hal wrote a book, which took him time, but because of the internet, and there's things that we do, and in fact, we're doing it right now, giving enough of yourself away really breaks down the selling process.
It really does. And like you said earlier, the things that you'll find in this book are not, they're things that you can go right out and do, but you have to go out and do it. You have to work at them, and step by step, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, as you've heard. And as you said earlier, And I like to say there's no medication called change-it-all that will change it all. Okay, there is no medication called change-it-all, so you have to do the work. Yeah, and I read a book a few years back. It's been a good many years back now. That was recommended to me by one of our good friends and mentors, Victor Antonio. He said, "You need to read the book Free." I said, "It's called Free?" He said, "Yeah, it'll tell you about why free works so well and why people crave free." So I run into small business owners and a lot, I have PCOs and WCOs through the years and on Facebook and in different groups. And when I start talking about this, one of the responses I get quite often is that I don't do anything free. People want my service, they're going to pay for it. I'm worth a lot of money and I don't give it away free. And a few years back, I had a lady who was a hypnotherapist in a group I was in back when the years ago when I was studying hypnotherapy and hypnotic writing. And we met in a networking group I was in, and she wanted to have coffee. And I said, okay. So we met at Starbucks, had a cup of coffee, and she had a lot of audio programs, CD, sets of CD programs all about hypnosis, how to use self-hypnosis. She said, there's an opportunity here for you if you're interested to sell my products, and you can make a good commission if you want to sell my products. And I said, well, give me one to take home and listen to so I can learn your product and see whether it's something that would be a good fit for me. And her response unbelievably was, oh, I don't give away my products. And I'm like drinking coffee. I'm like, like you want me to go out and sell these products for you, and you won't give me one so that I can sit down and see what it's all about. I was stunned. I was blown away. No, I don't give them away. So, that was one of the stupidest marketing blunders I've ever run across. I never forgot it. But everybody wants something for nothing if they can get it. And so when you offer them a free service or a free, like we do, I offer people a free 1 hour consultation, and send them a question. I put a lot of work into it, but I give it to them free. So there's no obligation, and it invites them into my world to see what my product and my service is all about, so that they can make a really confident decision whether they do or they don't want to work with me at some point. I know you do the same thing, but PCOs and WCOs can do the same thing. And giving away something not only creates trust and it proves your value, but it also initiates what we call the law of reciprocity. When somebody gives you something free, your natural inclination is to do what?
Is to give them something back free.
Give them something back free to equal the playing field, because our subconscious mind, Elmo, that I always talk about, doesn't like being on an unequal playing field. Elmo likes for everything to be even. So we don't like to feel indebted to people, because it even though we are, but it makes us feel a little bit vulnerable and a little bit sheepish. So what we like to do is keep everything even. So when somebody gives us something, we want to give back. So when you give somebody a free service, their natural inclination is going to be to buy more service in order to make it feel like it's all equal. Does that make sense?
Well, here's how the summation is: when you give of yourself free something of value with no expectations, people will freely give you business back. And speaking of something free, let's share this opportunity that Hal will do with you for free.
Hey folks, it's Hal here, and I want to tell you about my personal coaching program designed specifically for PCOs and WCOs who want to grow their businesses faster, easier, and build more value and wealth for your future retirement. To find out more, simply give me a call at 770-993-0004, and I'll treat you to a free 1-hour coaching session so you can see for yourself what I do and how I can help you. There's no obligation and no strings attached.
Google Pest Control, marketer, grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.
All right, we're back, pestcontrolmarketing.live, and that's one of our jingles. I had somebody inquire this weekend about, they sent me an email and said they were interested in a jingle, Mike, and so there's an example of our jingles. They sound great, and they're quality produced by you, and so we did one for ourselves, and I think we did a good job. We gave ourselves a good deal on it too, I thought.
Well, you know, the thing that people need to and really grasp on the internet, we call it freemium instead of premium. It's a concept called freemium, and it's very successful on the internet. Amazon Prime, one of the most successful ventures of Amazon ever, has a free trial period. Amazon Music, all the streaming services, Spotify, they'll give you 3 months free to get you to like the service. And they know that if they can get you to take the free stuff, that you'll go to the premium stuff, which is the paid stuff. So giving away free is very common online. And you're probably thinking, well, how does that, how can I give away something free as a PCO? Because, you know, their minds are going, Hal, right to the thing. Well, you know, I don't want to give away free termite services, things that have, you know, you've got the expense of the materials, the chemicals, and so forth. So you're sitting here thinking, I don't want to be doing termite jobs for free. But there's a lot of other things that you can give for free that are valuable to a customer.
Oh, yeah. I got a prime example, just a very specific example of how this would work to get you a sale. Let's suppose you went out to somebody's house to give them an estimate for a termite treatment. Let's just say a liquid termite treatment, and it came out to $980. Okay, now that's a big purchase for somebody, and so you're going around and you're drawing it up, calculating the cost, and you find, let's say you find a yellow jacket's nest out by their walkway, or they've already complained about it, but whatever, you find a yellow jacket's nest. And so you go to them, and because you don't want to do any kind of treatment or application without permission. So you say, look, you've got a yellow jacket's nest over here by your walkway. I noticed somebody's going to get stung, and that's not good. So with your permission, I'd like to go out there and exterminate that yellow jacket's nest. You know, we normally charge $135 to come out and do that, but there's no charge for it. I'm just going to do it for you free because it needs to be done. Okay. Not trying to sell you yellow jacket service. So they say, okay, that'd be great. So you go out there, you exterminate the yellow jacket's nest. And now you're walking a few minutes later, say, well, I'm ready to show you, you know, what we need to do for the termite treatment. And you go over with them and you say, it'd be $980. Would you like to go ahead and do it? Now you've just done a free yellow jacket's nest for them that it's $135 value or whatever you placed on it. So you have triggered the law of reciprocity by giving them that free yellow jacket treatment. And now you ask for the big sale. Well, the chances of them saying yes to you has just gone way up, because now you've got the law of reciprocity on your side, prodding them, saying, yes, go ahead with it. He just killed the yellow jacket nest. You can't say no to him. You know, go ahead and do it. So they're going to feel appreciative and obligated to choose you instead of choosing the other guys to do business with, because you've already given them something of value. That would be a specific example, and you can just use your creativity, but throwing in a free pest control service, if you sell somebody a termite treatment or a free rodent monitoring, there are just all kind of ways you can use free in order to get people to say yes to you on the purchase.
Well, and in the online world and in the pest control world that we're working in, there's ways of giving away helpful tips for free that do two things. One, it builds confidence and trust with people who are getting that information for free. And two, it lets people feel like they know you, and we buy from people we feel like we know and trust. So one of the things that we do is a great example for some of our coaching clients that work with me. I produce a podcast, a community service, helpful tip, how to solve bug problems in your local area podcast. And you're going, why in God's name would I take the time to, or even spend money to produce a podcast? Well, one, it's probably one of the most important things you can do on the internet. It's called content marketing. And it doesn't matter if there's 5 people or 500 people listening a month. It's about the fact that you're giving Google and the internet content. But more importantly, it's something that when you're, whatever marketing strategy you're doing, you're saying, oh, by the way, if you're not ready to buy from me, listen to our podcast, and we may give you some helpful tips to help you have a pest-free home. In fact, Hal, I thought this was brilliant. Hal wrote a book years ago. Was it 50 Tips to Have a Pest-Free Home or something like that?
Oh, yeah. That book was the Homeowner's Pest Protection Manual. It's a small book. I mean, it's only about, 40 pages, 35 or 40 pages long. But instead of a business card or a brochure, I used to give people this little book. And, that made me an author.
Well,
the credibility just
about that book is that people should contact Hal. You could license that book or build your own book, and when people buy from you, you give them that and say, "Look, this is going to help you have a more pest-free home." Well, I'll tell you what. You think, well, why would I want to teach a customer how to not need me? It doesn't work like that. When they figure out, a great example, you talked about the crawl space, all the things you have to do. When you explain to them all the things that has to be done to make sure it works, they go, oh, shoot, I don't want to do this. I'll just hire this expert.
And, it's the same thing. If somebody's car was all skin up and they needed to have it painted, they needed a new paint job. And they ask a body shop, how do you paint a car? Well, first you go in, you sand it, and you take all the dents out. Yeah, I mean, you think somebody's going to go out and paint their own car because they picked the brain of the body shop guy? Or, it just doesn't work that way.
But when you give away giving away books, giving away future discounts, giving away gift cards, giving away thank you cards, but also on the internet, if you do what we do, giving away a digital book is a possibility. But let me tell you a little bit more about the podcasting. I want to talk about how I produce podcasts because I'm an audio expert. This is a use of the jingle. Most of our clients that do podcasts play their jingle in their podcast, and what they're doing is they're promoting their local radio station as a community-free service. Then they get to advertise their business. Now, just this week, I got to show everybody this. Just this week, one of our clients at Faith Pest Control has a jingle, is one of our coaching clients. I got this text, and I want to show you. You can't make this up. I just sold a $1,400 termite job specifically as a result of our podcast about treating termites. Just thought you'd like to know that. That's what can happen when you create free content and put it out on the internet. So the concept of freemium, the concept of giving stuff away free in the real world, in the offline world, and the online world, you don't know what the results will be. All I know is that I can guarantee you this, if you don't do the things you could, I can guarantee your results. So, do you want to take some questions, Hal, or do you have any other comments you want to talk about giving
Well,
away
if we're
stuff
having
free?
questions, this is a rough time for PCOs and WCOs. It's 9 a.m. in the morning Eastern time, and further west you go, the earlier in the morning it gets. But they all, those guys are out there working, and so hopefully, I say hopefully, I know by looking at the numbers, a lot of them watch it on the replay because they're out there killing bugs during the daytime and catching critters. But if we do have somebody that has a question, we're always here to answer it. And
well, one of the things you can do, I assume some folks here are members of the Facebook private group, Pest Control Marketing Gold. You search Facebook for that. You can post questions. Hal and I are in there often. We answer questions, and of course, you can always call Hal. In fact, that's one of the things that's really, really important. If you want to talk to Hal and schedule the free call, right here it is. Pest Control. Go to pestcontrolmarketer.com. Lots of free information there. Over 100 episodes. Had a guy call this week, Hal. I think you talked to him as well. Said he found our podcast, listened to 40 episodes, driving to and from jobs, was blown away. So got tired of listening just to talk radio, and he can play music anytime he wants. He was using what I call Dashboard University. That's what pestcontrolmarketer.com is. It's a dashboard university. You get your dashboard radio to tune into our podcast, and it's free wisdom in how to build your business. If you want to understand how to use the internet, there is, in fact, that's my live show. In fact, it comes on at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central today. And I talk about how to use the internet, no matter what your business is. And that's my phone number, 770-826-3662. Love to spend an hour. I will give you 1 hour of my time free to analyze what you need and help you get on a path of direction to make a difference in your business. So giving away free, we don't preach this, we practice it. So I'm looking to see if there's any question. This is a good one, Hal. In your book, you talk about what you learned selling Christmas trees. So,
yeah.
It says a one and done season long surely needs a close. I agree. I don't know what Rodney's saying here.
Well, I know what he's saying, and I'll tell this little story real quick. I used to, back when I was in the pest control business early on in the 70s, when my wife quit teaching school to stay home and raise kids. I had all kind of part-time jobs, and one of them was a Christmas tree lot that my cousin and I had every year for 3 weeks during Christmas. We go down to the farmer's market, buy these Christmas trees, put them up on this vacant lot, sell Christmas trees. Now, there were a lot of Christmas tree lots around Roswell at the time, and people would come out on those cold nights, and we got a fire built, in a big 50-gallon barrel, and people would come and look at our trees, and they would find a tree that they really liked. They'd say, "Oh, this tree is perfect. This is it." And the wife, the kids, they all loved it. And they said, "But we just started out. This is our first stop. And we're going to go look at some other lots just because this is a big affair every year for us. But we're going to be back to get this tree. So please put a sold sign on it. And we'll be back to get this tree." You never see them again, because what happens is, in some cases, they find another tree, but in most cases, they go out several lots, they get tired, they get worn out, and probably the dad finally says, "Look, just buy a dang tree. I'm ready to go home. Here, get this one." So they buy a tree and they go home. They've forgotten about that first one they found that just blew them away. So if you don't close the deal and they go shopping around, it's highly unlikely that they're ever going to come back to you and say, "Oh yeah, we couldn't find anything we liked as good as this one, so we came back to get this one." So when people call your office and they have a pest control problem or an issue, if you let them get off of the phone and let them go, say, "Well, I want to talk to a few more companies," you're highly unlikely you're ever going to hear from them again. So you got to learn how to close the deal. I spend a lot of time teaching people how to close. But you got to close the deal, because if they walk away from the Christmas tree lot, the odds are they're not coming back. I appreciate you asking that question, because that was a those were fun times for me, and I like going back to them. I've lost your sound, Mike.
I muted my microphone so I wouldn't interrupt you. But
Okay.
what about a long-term client who can return the product if the buyer's remorse sets in? How do we close and hold them tight? It's kind of hard. How would you return a service already performed? So,
Well, there's a very simple answer to that question is what I call shock and awe customer service. If they buy from you a pest control service or a termite treatment or a wildlife treatment, whether it's trapping gophers or getting rid of German cockroaches, you've just got to blow them away. Blow them away with your service and your respect and build a relationship with them where every time you leave, they think that I'm so glad I hired these people to do this. It all comes down to customer service. And Mike, when I do live workshops on customer service, one of the things I do is I say, raise your hand if you provide good customer service. And everybody raises their hand. And I say, well, I could come and take your customers away eventually, because if you just provide good customer service, because basically everybody provides what they think is good customer service. You got to provide blow them away, wow, shock and awe customer service. And if you will do that and make it a point to just build that relationship with them, they're never going to want to fire you. They're never going to want to fire you. Just like your dentist or your auto mechanic or your accountant that you've been dealing with for years, and you trust them and you have a relationship with them, you wouldn't dare bail out for a cheaper price, or just because you found somebody you thought was cuter or whatever, So the way you keep them there and avoid buyer's remorse is blowing them away and letting them know how much you appreciate them and the trust they place in you, and they'll keep you for forever. So many things come into play there. The law of reciprocity, rapport, love and respect, trust, all kind of things come into play there. Blow them away and there'll be no buyer's remorse.
well, we're getting close to where we need to call it a day. We try to keep this at 30 minutes, and here we are at the 40-minute mark. But I have a great little final question that has nothing to do with today's subject, but I'm going to put it in. But it has a segue that I want to share with you.
Can't wait.
Okay, I'm typing in something here that I want to throw up on the screen here in a second. But Rodney must be a musician. I love this. His first question was, he's looking at my screen, and for those of you on the podcast, you can't see it, but he says, obviously a Fender bass, but is that a Martin guitar in the screen? And I want to tell you what that is. That is a Takamine that is a Japanese company that made a Martin copy in the 70s, and Martin sued them because it was so similar to a Martin guitar that they're very rare. But if you Google the Takamine, like it's
wait a minute, Mike. He might be talking about my guitar.
Yours is not a Martin, but you'll get yours next.
I know.
Well,
was he talking about the one I was playing, and he said yours was a Fender, but was mine the one I was playing in the picture you did earlier, maybe?
Well, maybe the one behind you there.
Yeah, that's a Taylor.
Okay. Was the one in the picture, was that a Martin?
The one in the picture that I played, that one that I played gigs with for years, was a Martin Sigma guitar that I bought at Peachtree Salvage for $35 because it had a big hole in the side of it. You can't see there, but I put duct tape over it to cover the hole up, and it sounded great. And I bought it for $35, and played that guitar for 25 years. And now my daughter has it. I gave it to her.
Well, all right. Well, I got an ending story here about my guitars in my screen. Unfortunately, the podcasters, you'll just have to imagine it. But the picture here where you see the Fender bass there, I still have that Fender bass from 40 years ago. There's the neck of it sitting right behind me. And I can see your Taylor guitar in your picture. All the more reason, guys, you need to go to Facebook or YouTube and watch this replay if you're listening to the podcast. But that Takamine guitar was very popular, but didn't really take off. That brand took off when Garth Brooks started using Takamine. It looks like Take a Mine. But here's the story about that guitar. I couldn't afford to buy it, and I wrote a jingle for Miller's Music in Atlanta, Georgia, and that was the payment for the first jingle that I did for a music store. So that's how long I've been doing jingles. I know how jingles work. You know, he had a great slogan, "Come on down to Miller's Music." That's all we sang. But that's what I say.
Which is what we talked about earlier. He had a call to action. Come on down to Miller's Music. That's a call to action.
Right.
And you know, it might interest you. Here's a trivia point too, Mike. Probably in the very early 80s, you probably didn't even know this, but I did a jingle for Miller's Music too. I did a sound alike of Richard Nixon, Jimmy Stewart, and Walter Brown, all these guys showing up at Miller's Music.
We've had a lot of fun, and we know about that. And one of the biggest uses of jingles and all our PCOs that get their jingles, they put them on YouTube, they put them on radio, they put them on TV, but they go to my website, Done For You Podcast Service. That's where there's a lot of technical hoops that people don't want to learn. And if you can just show up and answer questions, we can make all these things happen for you. So give me a call at 770-826-3662 and consider adding a podcast to your PCO marketing mix and your content marketing mix. With all that being said, Hal, any final last words you want to say? I do want to throw out this comment from Rodney. He says, excellent answer. Shock and awe. Thanks. I'm going to put that on the wall. We don't provide good service. Rodney, I'd say we provide shock and awe service, but ecstatic, you got the point. That's the main thing.
Yeah. And another thing about the podcast I want to throw out, just because you have a podcast makes all the difference in the world to some people, because none of your competitors do. And when they're looking online for a pest control company and they find a company that has a podcast, immediately your credibility goes all the way to the top and rings the bell. And they're likely to call you right then, simply because you have a podcast and they know you're not a fly-by-night jackleg company. So with that said, folks, Mike, this has been great again. I always look forward to it. We do this every 2 weeks. We're going to have some great guests coming up in the future as well. So we need to get out of here. So folks, thank you for joining us on this episode of PestControlMarketing.live, and we'll see you next time.
Hal Coleman has been active in the pest control industry for over 40 years, including owning and operating his own successful pest control business for 18 years. He now devotes his time to helping other PCOs and other WCOs double, triple, and even quadruple their businesses faster than they ever imagined. Be sure to check out his website, PestControlMarketer.com. For more information about Hal's coaching program, you can reach him at 770-993-0004 or email him hal@halcoleman.com. Mike Stewart is known as the Internet Audio and Video Guy. Since the birth of the Internet, Mike has been showing small business owners how to get more new customers, increase their sales, and grow their businesses online using audio and video, now with iPhones and Android phones. For more information about Mike's coaching program and his online training courses, visit MikeStewartCoaching.com or email him mike@internetaudioguide.com.
Google Pest Control Marketer. Grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0000.